He's got his own MPs turning on him because they don't believe that people should be deported either. Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting, Yvette Cooper, Lisa Nandy are all on course, if you look at the polling, to lose their seats. This is the measure of the woman. She's got a fake CV, she's got a fake career, fake job history, and now it turns out if she hadn't have walked away from HBOS, she'd have actually been sacked because she was putting through on her expenses handbags, perfumes, wine. Boat crossings are up. We've found out that a lot of these people that are being deported are actually going willingly. They're being paid £3,000 of yours and my money, and anybody else watching this money, to actually go home. So they're getting £3,000 and going, oh, lovely, yeah, no problem. And then they'll probably come back again on the boat next year. And how many of these people that have been deported or decided to go home and getting flown home have actually come over on a small boat? Can you answer me that question? Zero. Not one small boat person has actually been deported. A deportation flight took off during the week. The flight could hold up to 200 and something people. There was 47 people on it. It was £22,000 a seat the taxpayer paid just to deport 47 people. It cost well over £1 million to deport 47 people. Stick them on any flight, book them any ticket that's going to their country, and get them away. That's all it takes. We don't have to get all these private jets and stuff. Just get them away on a flight. It doesn't matter.
But then you don't have that press attention then. Labour wanted the press attention of deportation flights. They wanted the video of these people walking on those planes. This was all a PR stunt, basically. They wanted good PR out of deporting 44 people who all wanted to go home anyway and were being paid to go home.
Thing is, though, who's the good PR for? I don't really see how this helps Starmer at all. It doesn't help Starmer because the one thing they have been doing, I will admit, is deporting more people. The nuances around that, the caveats to that, you can discuss later. But they have been deporting more people. It's the one thing as well that Starmer doesn't want to talk about. I made a video called Starmer's Catch-22, and the Catch-22 is they are getting rid of more people, which is against Starmer's own beliefs. It's against the Labour Party's own beliefs, and it's certainly against the vast majority of the Labour membership's own beliefs. If Starmer wants to keep hold of the youth vote, the student vote, if you will, deporting people and promoting that what you're doing there, deporting people, is not going to win him the student vote. He's got his own MPs turning on him because they don't believe that people should be deported either. So the one small minor success that he has had is actually going to damage him more within his own party and make his position in his own party less stable. Although the vast majority of the country, I suggest, would agree with the policy, of course, of deporting more of these people.
And that's why he's doing it. He knows his party may hate him for it, but his party on the whole will still vote Labour at the next election anyway, rather regardless if he's in charge or not. He knows he's in trouble. He's having to attract other voters or voters that used to vote Labour that have left if he's got any chance of staying in power, which we know for a fact he hasn't. But he's still trying. He's still trying, and those PR stunts work because people won't look at the detail. They'll just go, oh, look what Labour are doing. The Tories deported no one. Labour are already deporting people. I might stick with Labour a bit longer. It won't work. But apart from that, how's Starmer doing?
His approvals are at what, -63? The government's at -50. The latest YouGov polling for the NHS, the government's at -55. Handling of the economy, the government sits at -59. Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting, Yvette Cooper, Lisa Nandy are all on course, if you look at the polling, to lose their seats. Not just to reform either, by the way, to independence. Jess Phillips is also on course to lose her seat. They're having to do, I won't say emergency, that's pushing it a bit, but they're having to do a reshuffle if the rumours are true, which is going to take place in late spring, and try and change their fortunes around. I mean, personally, I don't think any reshuffle is going to change this party's fortunes around. This is supposed to be his top team. What lunatic's going to come after these lot? You know, he's got a chancellor. I don't know if you've seen the latest story on Reeves, but the BBC for once have actually done a good job, and they've been digging into Reeves's past. She's now had to alter her CV on LinkedIn for a second time now.
Again.
Yeah, incredible. It turns out she now left is it HBOS in 2009 under what was called some sort of legal agreement she had with them because her and two senior managers alongside her were under investigation for fiddling their expenses. So that this is the measure of the woman. She's got a fake CV, she's got a fake career, fake job history, and now it turns out if she hadn't have walked away from HBOS, she'd have actually been sacked because she was putting through on her expenses handbags, perfumes, wine, meals out. Meals out, you can get away with on your expenses. Fair enough at work, in some circumstances. But yeah, she had to leave on what was called a compromise agreement, which is a voluntary agreement. Now, well, Reeves's people are now trying to say, well, she wasn't interviewed, she wasn't sacked over this. No, because she walked away under this compromise agreement, which stopped her being sacked. It was probably an NDA, and I bet you she may have even had to pay some money back to them. So everybody kept their mouth shut. She could walk away with her credibility intact, but she was basically being investigated again. And let's not forget, she's got form for this. She was investigated in Parliament. She had her expenses card suspended in Parliament for spending it on dodgy things that shouldn't have gone through the expenses as well. This woman is, she's not, she probably is the main anchor to this government, apart from Starmer himself. She's, completely discredited. And she does need to go. She's a complete fraud, in my opinion. But Starmer knows that if he gets rid of Reeves, he's signing his own political death warrant as well. Because he looks incompetent. He's put somebody in charge of the economy who has crashed it. He's put somebody in charge of the economy who is nothing more, with greatest respect to anybody who works in complaints, but a complaint handler. That's all she is. And she, like I said, she has to go, but he can't get rid of her. This is a major headache for Starmer, and I bet you a pound to a penny he wouldn't appoint her again if he had his time again. But it's too late now. So when the cabinet reshuffle does come, if it comes, Reeves will be safe. And ironically, she's one of the main ones that should be gone straight away.
I'm not sure she is safe. You're right, as in something like 50% of all prime ministers, if they sack their chancellor, they're gone pretty soon afterwards as well. But that's only a 50% chance. So he may be at a stage where he's thinking to himself, we're done anyway, unless we turn the economy around. She's killing it. I might as well flip this coin, get rid of it, flip the coin and see if we can improve the economy because we're going to be gone anyway. So all depends how brave he is. If he's willing to take that chance. If he doesn't, then you're right. Things will carry on. And if she does go, who replaces her? Who's in there with that knowledge to be able to turn the economy around? At the moment, the name being floated around is Yvette Cooper, but I'm not sure she's any better either.
What, another lawyer? What good's that? Yet another lawyer. Oh, fantastic! Yeah, just what we need. Not one person on that front bench has ever, apart from Angela Rayner, she had a proper job. She was a carer, weren't she, for a while? Fair enough. Apart from that, I don't think any of them that I can name have ever had a proper job in their entire lives. They've gone to university, they've then gone to, you know, bag carrying for some MP, or they've become councillors or trade union representatives, and then they've managed to get into politics by kissing a bit of backside in the Labour Party. These people have zero life experience, zero business experience, which is why I actually think Reform UK are more appealing to a lot of people because you've got people on there who run their own businesses and things like that. Labour have none of that. These people don't know how to run an economy. They're having to tax because they can't borrow anymore because they've borrowed so much already that they've hit the ceiling, as they called it, the headroom that Rachel Reeves reckons she'd given herself. I mean, when your headroom is, and this isn't all Labour's fault, comes from both parties, but when your headroom, you're calling that financial breathing space, is just more money that you can borrow, then you really are in trouble. I would call proper fiscal headroom, I would call a surplus. You've actually got some money there put aside, ring fenced, if you will, for a rainy day that you can spend on some other projects. But no, we're just looking at how much can we borrow? How much can we borrow? And like I said to you in one of our last chats, we're actually borrowing money to pay the interest on our own national debt. This is a death spiral. And I'll disagree with you again. I think Reeves is safe, and I think she only goes when the May elections happen, and Starmer's going to have to do something very, very desperate to try and improve his own image, to try and save his own skin. And we've seen in the past that he will throw anybody under the bus if it means that he can save himself. And he's not the only politician to be like that, by the way, they're all like that. But he will throw anybody under that bus. And if he can throw Reeves under the bus to save himself, then fine. But like you said, who's going to follow him? There is nobody in that party qualified to be Chancellor of this country. And that's part of the problem with all our politics. We've got Wes Streeting at Health, never worked in health in his life. You've got Yvette Cooper as Home Secretary, never worked in immigration, doesn't know anything about it. You've got David Lammy. What has he ever done to qualify him to be Foreign Secretary apart from go to Harvard University?
Well, he called himself a Caribbean, so that's quite handy for the foreign secretary.
Yeah, to be a foreigner, yeah, yeah, brilliant, yeah. And the guys from Tottenham, why don't you just tell the truth? That's what really annoys me about these people. Really gets on my nerves. I don't. Another thing I wanted to discuss, Nick. I don't know if you saw that Starmer went to a housing development that was being done, and our friendly farmers turned up to greet him. Did you not see it?
No, I've not seen
Um,
this.
he tried to give a bit of an interview to, I can't remember now, one of the MSM, and the farmers are all there with the horns blasting and everything. You can barely hear. Probably a good thing actually. You can barely hear what Starmer's saying at all. And then eventually they had to cut the visit short to this housing development. They had to get in the little Land Rovers and drive off. And the farmers were actually shouting at his car, "Why don't you come out and actually talk to us properly, like an adult?" And he wouldn't. He's just driven off as fast as he can. This is how low they've sunk. And then he's had to come out and give I would call an emergency interview to ITV, in which he says, and I quote. Do they prefer waiting lists to come down, their mortgages to come down, and the economy to start working for everyone, or do they want me to keep the tax break on farmers? You can't have both. Since they came in, they've ploughed over 10 billion into public sector pay rises. They ploughed another 10 billion into the NHS, which was spent within a month. Mortgage rates are not going to come down if you start taxing these farmers more. The farm tax was only going to raise 536 million, which they've already sent abroad in foreign aid to help foreign farmers in, was it Rwanda or something like that?
Rwanda in Brazil.
Rwanda and Brazil. So don't try and tell us that you're going to bring mortgages down, sort the economy out, and bring NHS waiting lists down by taxing these farmers because it's bollocks.
My question then is this: economy is tanking, the Labour government need more money. There's only three options. There is cuts to services, there's borrowing more money if they can, or there's more tax hikes. What are they going to do, Ash?
Well, they'll have to break yet another manifesto pledge. They're going to have to come back for more tax. There's nothing else they can do. They can't borrow. They can't borrow anymore now. They've hit the financial ceiling, if you will. Where else is money going to come from? They've taken 41 billion extra in taxes out of the private sector. They've given all the extra money that we had, which was probably borrowed anyway, to pay for public sector pay rises. There is no money. So they're going to come now and take it off people like you and me, people who just normal taxpayers, because all the millionaires are leaving, all the billionaires are leaving, all your non-doms, they're all leaving. We've had the equivalent of what, 530 odd thousand taxpayers leave this country since Labour came to power. And that's just through millionaires who account for, one billionaire accounts for a hell of a lot of me and the amount of tax that I pay. So they're going to have to come back. They're going to have to raise income tax. They might have to raise national insurance contributions for us. They might even raise VAT. But they will have to come back for more tax. And they said there will be one financial statement every single year. No more, no less. We're sticking to our financial rules, all that rubbish. Well, this is going to be a panic statement in spring, and they're going to try and spin it, of course, and call it a normal financial spending review and all this rubbish, but it's not. It's an emergency. We're skint. They've skinted us. The private sector simply can't cough up anymore because we've lost God knows how many jobs already. We're going to see more go before April when these new rules come in. The retail sector's warning that 300,000 jobs are going to go over the next 3 years because they can't afford to pay all the staff. So they're going tillless basically now. It's going to be self-service shops. Even Next are doing that. So yeah, they're going to come and raid you and me all over again.